You know, I remember the day really well. It was when I was 24, and I had just dropped my brother off at the airport. He had flown in for the day so we could have a nice long visit. Hadn't seen him in a few years, actually. It was wonderful. But now it was late, and I was ready to drive home. It was going to be a 3-hour drive, and it was dark. So I got my coffee, turned on the music in my car, and I headed out on this busy 4-lane highway. And that's the time of night when all the big trucks come out. Have you ever noticed if you're driving it that night? And all the cars were whizzing by. And I was kind of enjoying the drive. I was settled in. And all of a sudden I noticed there was like a light show in the air in front of me. It looked like a laser light show. Quite amazing. And then all of a sudden I found myself bumping. And I said, what's going on? And I realized that I was driving across a field. And when I looked over there, I could see the cars and the trucks whizzing by on the highway. But I was here on a field. And I rolled to a stop, and I realized I fell asleep driving. I opened the door of my car and got out, and the fresh night breeze revived me somewhat. And I walked around the car to see if I'd hit anything. I had not. There was a bridge over there. There was another ditch somewhere a little bit further. I'd missed those, thankfully. Wow. I got back in the car, and then I started driving again. And I got home safely. I was lucky. Many years later, my 24-year-old stepson, Ricky, was on his way to a rock concert with his buddy in a van. They had just finished writing exams. They had been up several nights trying to study, and so they hadn't had a lot of sleep either. And as Ricky was driving along, he started to nod off. His buddy saw that, reached over and grabbed the wheel. Unfortunately, that flipped the van. Ricky was not wearing a seatbelt. He was ejected from the van window, and he died instantly. It was tragic. A promising life ended. Did you know that every hour, every day in the United States, somebody dies in a traffic accident because of lack of sleep? These types of accidents add up to more than the car fatalities from drunk driving and driving while on drugs combined. 40% of people will admit that they have fallen asleep while behind the wheel. It's a big deal. But that's not the worst of it, if you can imagine that. Being behind the wheel is very serious. But there's another lifelong effect on you from not sleeping enough. How many of you actually sleep 7 to 8 hours a night? Apparently not a lot. 2/3 of adults in the US, at least, do not get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And I have to say, I struggle to get that amount of sleep. There's the old saying, I'll sleep when I die. The only problem with that is, if you agree with that, you're going to lead a much shorter life, and your quality of life is going to be much reduced. I'll tell you why I know this. I just read a great book by Matthew Walker, PhD. He's an international sleep scientist, and he wrote the book called Why We Sleep. I highly recommend it. And I am a nurse, a registered nurse. I'm also a health and wellness coach. My website is gailnichols.com. You're welcome to go there and schedule a talk with me to find out how I can help you. But here's what I learned, among other things, in that book. I'm going to just list 7 key things that we can fix right away if we pay attention to it. This is what short sleep, as they call it, ends up causing with us. Number 1, think of your brain. If you don't get enough sleep, then your brain suffers. And how does it suffer? You're an early candidate for Alzheimer's disease. And also major psychiatric disorders like depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, worse. Then think of your overall immune system, how you fight off germs. that is compromised if you don't get enough sleep regularly. That leads to cancer and other diseases. Then think of your blood system, all those veins and arteries. If you don't get enough sleep on a regular basis, your arteries get clogged, and that leads to a heart attack and stroke. Sounds bad, doesn't it? Also, if you even go for a week without enough sleep, like even if you just average 5 or 6 hours, your blood sugar level rises and you are classified as pre-diabetic. Have you ever noticed that when you get tired, you want to eat, even if you're not hungry? A lot of people do that, and that causes you to gain weight. But let's say you want to lose that weight. Good luck if you're not getting enough sleep. You'll be lucky if you lose anything, and if you do, it'll be the lean body mass, not the fat cells that you're trying to lose. So it's all pretty disheartening. In fact, the World Health Organization has recently issued an edict. They've called it a worldwide epidemic of sleep loss in the industrialized nations, because not only does it affect your body and your mind, but it affects, therefore, where you work and the productivity of the organization and the countries. So sleep is a real issue. In fact, the scientists like Matthew Walker and others have been beseeching doctors to prescribe sleep, not sleep medication, because that's a very bad thing, sleep medication, but to prescribe sleep. So I see this as a wake-up call, or maybe I should call it a call to sleep. Are you with me? Let me know on my website, gailnichols.com. Send me a message that you're with me, and let's discuss how we can work together to help you lead a healthier, longer life of happiness. Thank you.